Here we are again today, guys, on Yonkers Voice with Catherine Nadal. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes, you did.
Well, Catherine is a certified medium. It's a person that can speak with those that speak. I don't know if speaking is the correct word, or communicate. Communicate with those that already passed to another life. Catherine, welcome for you to be here. Please tell us a little bit about you, a short brief on a bio.
I'm a certified medium. I'm certified through the Forever Family Foundation, which is a foundation in Long Island, New York. It was founded by Robert Ginsburg, and it's a testing process. Basically, he and his wife felt that it was important to get the quality mediumship, and they created a foundation and they certified mediums through a test-taking process. And I did that, and I went through their process, and I'm certified through their foundation. And we volunteer. We have a lot of events throughout the year. We do mediumship raffles, and we do a grief conference twice a year. And it's just a wonderful organization. There's so many people that actually really need assistance in the different stages of grief, and mediumship is part of that.
And Catherine, when did you know that you had this skill? How would you call it? Is it a skill?
It's a gift, yeah.
This gift.
Yeah.
When did you find out that you had this gift?
Well, I was a child. I said it distinctly, and I speak about this in a book that I wrote, but I was with my father on a pier, and we were fishing, and he decided to teach me that day how to go crabbing. And he said, don't touch the line of the crabbing, and I just heard, pick it up, and my dad was really tall, and I was only 9, and I said, I have to pick up that line. And I went behind him, and I started pulling up the line. And as much as the faster I was pulling it up, the louder the sound got, pick it up. And I pulled it out of the water, and it was the biggest blue crab that day, on the pier. And all these little boys came running over, their fathers came running over, and I was stunned by that, and I said, wow, that's amazing. And shortly after that, all of my dreams just got very, very vivid. I started to see things happening in dreams, and I started knowing information like before it happened. And, started to explain that to my dad, and he wasn't, very into that. So that was interesting kind of growing up, because he was, very Roman Catholic, and to him that was not really what he was, into at the time. But it was fascinating being a child and realizing things that were actually happening to me.
Now, Catherine, before we go into those things, let's talk a little bit about the certification. Look, I've been involved or know about this for many, many years, since I was a young child. And back in those days, there were a lot of people that were not mediums, but they play one.
Oh, that's right.
It happens.
That's right.
That happens. What does the certification mean? How are you certified?
It's interesting, because the Forever Family Foundation of Long Island has actually made this a formal process, where you actually speak with them over the phone, you answer a questionnaire, and then if you get further in the process, they'll actually test you. And the testing process is doing a reading over the phone for someone that they have selected. You cannot see them, you could just hear them on the telephone. And then they move into a video where you actually sit in front of a computer, and someone sits there and you're doing a reading, and they're not able to communicate with you, and you provide all this information, and they're actually grading you. And they're grading you on how accurate that information is. And that information that comes through from spirit is evidence of that person's life. So you have to be able to deliver who the spirit is, what the relationship to the person, the cause of death, their personality. Sometimes it's a nickname that, only the family members knew. So it's all of that information is called evidence of spirit. It's evidence that you're truly communicating with the person's loved one. You're not looking anything up. You're not having any predisposed information. And you're not giving general information, and that's really the key. when that's what they look for in the certification, is that there's very unique information that comes through to provide evidence of spirit. And on top of that certification, I actually, a few years ago, went over to England, and they have, testing there as well. And there's a college there called the Arthur Findlay College, and it's in Stansted, England. And there's many people that go over there, and they go there to learn, but they actually go there to be tested, to know what level they're at. And I attended there twice, and that was really fascinating.
It was.
Yeah, the school looks like something out of Hogsworth or something.
Now, Catherine, we hear there is good spirits and bad spirits. Is that the true statement, or all the spirits are equal?
Well, it's interesting how it's portrayed in movies. I do many, many readings. I've done thousands of readings. And information that comes through from spirit, they validate the life they live, and they validate they might have been involved with the wrong crowd, or that they struggled with addiction. And sometimes during a reading, specific events will come up, and there'll be a sense of them communicating with loved ones, forgiveness, I'm sorry, awareness of how they put the family through. Sometimes legal things come up, police reports, things that I'm shown that just validates, what kind of life they led. And I have not come across anything that the family member was not able to really, truly understand and connect with, because the person was really, truly troubled while they were living.
No, now let me tell my audience, guys, Catherine actually did a reading for me the other day without me asking. As we were saying goodbye to each other, she said, hold on. And she was telling me a few things. And
I said, hold on, can I give you some information? And
yes.
you said yes, because I never just become intrusive to
yes.
something.
And I must say that I was astonished, surprised how correct she was. So I'm asking you this because, Catherine, there is people here asking, can you do a reading? Well, it's difficult to do a reading on a stream. It must be some type of a contact. The medium needs to speak with you. There is communication that goes through it. So I'm going to let Catherine tell you how she can do a reading for you. I'm going to be saying this multiple times through the broadcasting. So let's just start it by those that are interested.
Okay.
How can they contact you, Catherine?
So I have a website called www.dreamcentralstation.com. And if you go to www.dreamcentralstation.com, you'll see my website there. And there's several tabs on that website. You can see the testimonial tab. You can see the contact tab. I even have a gallery tab because I'm known to read Italian coffee and Turkish coffee. So I do coffee readings as well. And my contact info is there. I have a telephone number, an email address, and all the readings are booked through there.
So if you're interested, go through the website. I don't know if there is a registration, but there is a form of some...
Yeah, it's just a drop-down menu. They can select different types of readings. One of the readings I do is a donation reading. Sergeant Eddie Ryan is a wounded Marine Scout sniper who got shot twice in the head in Iraq in 2005. So there's actually a Sergeant Eddie Ryan reading, and it's a 15-minute reading, and 100% of that goes right to Sergeant Eddie Ryan. So a lot of people like to do that because they want to help Sergeant Ryan.
So back to the spirit, good spirit, bad spirit. There is no such thing. Once we pass on, we all belong to the same universe.
Well, the way I've been reading and the information that's come through, I get direct information about their life, and it's validating how they live their lives. They give me the sense that they did not live the life that maybe the family members wanted to, choose for them. I have not come across those words as good, bad, indifferent, like that. It's just the symbols that I actually get when I read for family members. And those symbols that I get clearly depict what someone had gone through. And that is important.
So, reading. How does it really go? Do I talk to you, set up a reading, and you feel whoever is there that wants to manifest? Or can I say, look, I want to speak with my grandfather, or I want to speak with my uncle or a good friend. How does that go?
Yeah, it's very interesting because when I read for family members on the phone, I always start off the same way. I explain how I work. I'm clairvoyant and I'm clairaudient. Clairvoyant means I can see, and clairaudient means I can hear. And when I talk with family members, it's important for them to know that, especially even through the Forever Family Foundation, we read for spirit as they present themselves to us. We can't guarantee if a family member has like an A list of people that they want to come through first. We can't control that. It's really sometimes surprising that a family member will come through in a reading and the person I'm reading for says, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe that that person came through. They never come through in a reading. And it's their message. And it's quite ironic how it happens. It's the exact message that they need, but it's that person that they were not expecting to hear from. And very often, once I get the reading started, a family member steps forward and then they bring others behind. And that's what's important, because the people that they may want to hear from, the grandfather or the spouse, may be coming along, but that one person has to open the door of communication.
Has anyone ever came to you and said, look, my wife, my husband is cheating on me, and I want to see if my mother, who might be watching over me, can tell me anything about that? Are they intrusive? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so I explain when I do my readings, and I'm kind of really straight about this, but when I do my readings, it's very interesting. I tell people that the spirit world is very much aware of what's going on in our lives, but they will never tell us what to do with our lives. We have something that's called free will, and we have responsibility of our own lives, but there's awareness that comes through in a reading. So like you just said, that person said, I think that my husband's cheating on me, or my husband's cheating on me. That's information they provide to me. So I can't claim that I give that to them. You know, I can do the reading and give them information that maybe is reflecting of something else. And that's what's surprising about it. But I always tell people, and anyone that's ever had a reading with me, I tell them, don't say anything. Just say yes or no. Because if they do all the talking, then they're giving the reading, and I'm not.
Exactly.
So I'm really kind of strict with that.
Now, Catherine, life after death, the other life, or whatever.
The afterlife.
The
I call
afterlife.
it that, yeah.
Now, do you believe in reincarnation?
I do. I do believe in reincarnation.
So what's the point of the reincarnation? Do we come to purify?
Well, yeah, you know, it's interesting. I've studied, you know, they say in life, you know, you can only learn so much, right? But you can always read so much more, right? So I've read a lot about reincarnation. And if you read about reincarnation, there's so many different aspects to it. But a lot of times in life, we come here for a reason, you know, and it's a lesson. So some people don't live very long. There's a lot of my friends, they passed away very early, and we questioned it. We said, what happened here? Why did they live a short life? And it's like maybe they did what they had to do and they moved on. But I truly believe in reincarnation, because we come back, and it's interesting because I've met a lot of people. I don't know if you've experienced this, but you say, how am I fast friends with this person? It's like I knew him in a past life. Have you ever had that?
Well, I can tell you a little story, and maybe you can catch something from it.
Okay.
I remember a past life.
Okay, great.
I remember walking into mountains somewhere in the Middle East. I don't know which part of the Middle East is, but I remember me dressed up with Arabic clothing, turban on my head. I was a business person that used to sell things, buy in a market, bring it to my town to sell it. And I remembered an avalanche of stones coming rolling that hit my mule and myself, and that's how I died.
Oh, wow.
That's the extent of what I remember. And I've been remembering this episode since very, very, very small child. I think I was 2 or 3, and I've been telling my mom and my dad the very same story. So was it a past life? I don't know. But I have a memory of it.
For sure, yeah. And it's interesting in my book. I speak about that because I went to Spain, and I went to an area of Spain, and when I was walking around, people were waving to me, and I was thinking, wow, why, you know, my family was Spanish. I said maybe I, you know, look familiar to them, but I started walking down streets, and I didn't know where I was, And I made a left and I made a right and I got to where I was going. And I wasn't using GPS. And it was like I'd been there before. I felt very comfortable. I was by myself. I was alone travel, you know, young girl. And I thought, you know, I should be worried. And I felt like I was at home walking through those. Oh, yeah, I felt like I was at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, before we go further, people are asking, please ask Catherine for her website again.
Oh, great.
So we have to repeat these as we go.
Oh, sure. It's www.dreamcentralstation.com.
Once again.
www.dreamcentralstation.com.
And your email, Catherine?
My email is Madrid. See, I just said I was from Spain, right? So Madrid, MADRID, the number 1 day @yahoo.com.
Do you do private readings?
They're all private readings, and I do something which is called a solo reading. I just want to read for one person. There's a lot of mediums out there that actually read for more than one person. They'll do a couple's reading or they'll do a family reading, but I only read for one person. And I think it's very important for that for me because I'm very big on privacy. And if I bring through some information for a family member that maybe the spouse doesn't know about, or maybe I touch on something that happened in their childhood that maybe the spouse or someone other family member is not aware of, it's just a private experience for me. So that's what I really I work that way, solo.
Lorraine, yes, we spoke about my past life, or what I think of my past life. A couple of years ago, or a year ago, I spoke with Lorraine. And she said, yes, Ben, I remember talking to you about this. What about to those that say, this is a whole bunch of nonsense?
Yeah.
Okay? Because there is people like that. Not everyone believes in what we believe.
Correct.
So there is people that might shut you down, say, well, she's looking for a couple of dollars on the side. Mm-hmm. What do we tell those people? I
mean, everyone has their own beliefs. I don't ever force anything on anyone. I'm really very respectful, especially with people's different cultures and religions and ideas in life. And it's just something that I am gifted to do. And it's like, take it or leave it. If they want, you know, if they're interested, they're interested. If they're not, they're not. And it's really been able to help people, you know, and that's what we do in life, is we try to help people. And that's what one of my missions is to always help people.
Now, Catherine, are you always able to do a reading? Let's say I call you, or we here sitting. Maybe there is no manifestation from my side, or maybe there is. Do you always do a reading, or there is times that you feel no communication?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I actually tell people, especially if I've never read from them before, I'm going to give you information. I'm going to talk very fast, so please write it down. But within the first 5 to 7 minutes, I'm going to deliver information to you. And if it does not make sense, please tell me right away, and we will stop the reading, and I will reimburse you 100%. Right on the spot, because I want them to have the best reading. And I've had readings myself. I've had readings in England, and it's a tremendous gift to receive information from your loved ones. You know, it really softens your heart, and it makes you kind of feel hopeful, you know, when you pass on, that they're going to be there, you know, to greet you. And you know, and that to me is important. And I don't want to go through a reading because it's not about the money for me. As you see, I donate so much money to Sergeant Ryan. And for me, it's really to help people.
You know, people have different personalities.
Yes.
I might be the quiet guy, you might be the joking kind, the other one might be the shy person, the other guy might be the gossip kind of guy. In the spirit world, do we also have spirits that fit those personalities?
Yes. That's one of the best things I love about the readings, because I'll be in the middle of a reading and I'll hear something and I'll say to the person, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you this. And it's an exact phrase that they gave. And I said, boy, this guy was a comedian, you know, and it's sometimes exactly what the guy was known to say, you know, or, you know, it's funny because I'll say in a reading, I read someone recently last week and I said, I'm sorry, but this person's acting like I'm the FBI. They don't want to say anything. And it was funny because that was something that had been referenced in the family, that they said, you know, if I'm ever questioned by the FBI, I'm never saying anything. So it made like terrific, you know, sense to the person that I even said FBI. They were like astonished by that. They said, I can't believe you said that, you know. So it's very, it kind of makes me smile too, because that's exactly what we look for. It's called evidence of spirit. And
Exactly. That's kind of a validation,
Exactly.
because if somebody, I'm sitting with you and you're doing a reading, and I know that my friend was a comedian, and all of a sudden a joke comes out, I'm still going to say, wow, what's going on here?
Exactly.
This is the real thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, what about the sadness? Death, it's something that been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless, we always feel sad when a close friend of ours or family member passes away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that that spirit is looking at us and seeing that sadness.
That's right.
Do they ever come and tell you, look, tell my son, my brother, my friend, not to worry, I am okay?
Oh, yeah. It's funny because during a reading that I do, I did a reading very recently, and the person had just lost their family member, and it was a very recent, and the person came barreling through. In the reading, the spirit came barreling through, and they came through with direct information, and they were going on about how they died suddenly, and it was not predicted. They were not sick. There was no medical connection. They were not running around seeing doctors, and the person was really very upset, crying, and I said, hang on a second, just hang in there with me. Let's get some information here. And everything that the person was questioning came out through their message. And that's what we call messages, because it's very hard when there's a sudden death, and I talk about that in my book. I have a whole chapter on sudden death because it's timing in life. People don't understand that, and it's one of the hardest deaths because you don't have the ability to say your goodbyes to someone. And that happens very often. It happened to me, actually. My mother died very suddenly. I was 16 years old. And when you experience a sudden death, there's really no consolation. There's nothing anyone can say how you're feeling, because you're really in shock at that point. And some deaths are, very tragic, and some deaths are very traumatic. And it's that piece of it that makes that grief that much heavier.
Now, somebody's asking, as you know, we're live streaming, and people
yes,
are asking.
yeah.
Zizi Riza is asking, Zizi, how do you know when you have your reading? I guess what she's asking is if she's, books a reading, how do you know? Do you email the person?
Oh, yes, okay. So if you book a reading on the website, there's actually a drop-down menu, and you can select however type of reading you want. And then that actually goes through, I think it's PayPal. And then I get notified by PayPal that there was a purchase of a reading. And then I email the person my availability, and we just match up our schedules. I'll do a phone reading, which means I just call the person on the phone, or I actually do Zoom readings. During the pandemic, I've been doing all overseas readings on Zoom.
On Zoom.
Yeah.
Zizi, I hope we answered your question. If I did not phrase the question the way you wanted, please repost your question. So we have spirits that are funny spirits, with the humor.
Mm-hmm.
What about upset spirits that
Yeah.
are very upset?
Yeah. Yeah, so that the word upset that you described does come through in a reading, because they talk about things that were done that were just not fair, and sometimes it's things that happen in the household, or sometimes it's things that they show me paperwork where either decisions were made over time, and they want to validate that, where they feel they want to clarify something, that maybe a decision was made and someone felt like they were always blaming that person, and they'll come through and try to explain that. And that's interesting, because it's like, I call it unfinished business. Like the spirits want to come through and kind of clarify that the family was kind of upset during the time of their death, or things were unsettled during the time of the death. And sometimes this comes up when someone is chronically ill, who decides to take care of the family member, or where the family member ends up getting cared for. And sometimes there's a lot of information on that.
When you get a call for a reading, the majority of the calls are about what? What do they want to know? What does the living wants to know?
Well, it depends. I do psychic readings, which means someone does not want to communicate family members. They just want to know about their job or their love life. So I do offer that. and then other people want the mediumship. So I can't really say that all communication with spirit, 100%, always comes through because of their ability, the person's ability to love them and their ability to love the family member. So the way that I communicate is I'm just a translator for the family member, and it's because of their love, that's how they come through. So I don't know, did I answer that correctly?
You did. I don't want, there is no right way or wrong way to answer. The answer is the answer.
Most of it is to validate their life and to give a message and to let them know. A lot of times I'll say something and I'll say, oh wow, the Spirit's giving me the sense that you felt them around you recently. And they'll say, oh yeah, I was standing in the kitchen and I felt like my mother was right there behind me, and I turned around. Like a lot of the people I read for feel their family members around them, and they welcome it actually.
I remember years ago when I was 15, 16, back home, every Thursday night we would go to a place we used to call it Centro Redentor, which is it's based in Brazil, and all that they do is they deal with the mediums, the afterlife communication. And I remember there was a table in the center of the room, and the audience would sit around the room. And when the spirit would manifest, through the medium, and the medium spoke, at the end of the session, the medium would not remember a thing. Is that the case with the...
I have to say, mostly correct. I've done seances in England. We trained at the Arthur Finley. And I always tell people, you have to write it down. I will not remember it. I may not remember it 5 minutes after the reading is over. And I've had so many people email me and say, you said this like 10 minutes in and you were referencing, and they give me, and I write them back and I say, I'm sorry, I don't remember it. Because it's too much information for me to know. Now, I do read for people in the music and entertainment business, and some of those readings are really astonishing because I would remember them, because I don't often read for people that are well known, or I'll do a reading and I'll reference something, and to me it's so amazing because it's about other famous people. So I might remember something like that because it's quite dramatic, but no, it's just too much information.
Now, a question here. It's a two-part question, but I don't want you to answer the second part.
Okay.
The question is, how long is the reading, and how much is the reading?
Okay.
I don't want to talk about the dollar figure to the reading. That you can call and discuss and look at the website, go to the portal. But how long is the reading?
So the Sergeant Eddie Ryan reading is 100% donated to him, and that's a 15-minute reading. I try to keep that psychic because it's very short, it goes really fast. And then you could do a 30-minute reading or an hour with me. Okay,
so you choose, and based on how long the reading is, that's a dollar amount attached to
Correct.
the duration.
It's on the drop down,
On the drop down. Now, you wrote a book.
I did, yeah.
And I see it there.
Yeah, here it is.
So you have 2 books on your hands, but let's talk about the one that you wrote first.
I wrote this one. It's called Sing More Than Clouds in Your Coffee, and it's primarily based on readings that I've done for people, either doing coffee readings or doing mediumship readings or just doing psychic readings. And it's very interesting, this book. It was illustrated by my friend Cloudy Benjamin, and it's based off my company. My company is called Dream Central Station, which is about Grand Central Station in New York City, and you can see it depicted on the back. But I always use Grand Central Station because it's a hub where people go to get somewhere else. So I looked at Grand Central Station like, okay, so someone goes to the medium in order to get somewhere else, in order to find either peace or to find problem solving if they need psychic information. So I kind of based it off of Grand Central Station as a hub.
And Catherine, if I'm interested in purchase this book, where can I get it?
Oh, Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You can buy it online. It comes like, I think it's in a hard copy paper book, and it's also an ebook as well.
So guys, you know where to get it. It's a great thing, but supporting our local writers, even though Catherine is not just local, she's world known. She's known all over the place.
Oh.
Okay? So get the book if you want. Now, what about the other book? I see you have another book.
So I brought this in particularly on purpose. It's called The Medium Explosion, and it was written by the founder of Forever Family Foundation, Robert Ginsburg. And it's wonderful. I read it, and it talks about mediums right now, exactly what you were talking about. And exactly the reason why they started the foundation was because there are people that are running around saying that they have these gifts, but maybe they really don't have the gift. And maybe they really can't get through a certification process. So inside this book that Robert Ginsburg wrote about, he actually quotes, we have several mediums that have become very well known in the foundation, and he actually took excerpts from their books and talked about experiences that they went through with mediumship. And we just recently, this book is connected to a Netflix special that is on right now, and it's called Surviving Death. Mm-hmm. So the Forever Family Foundation and the Summertime Grief session that we have, it's actually like a weekend grief session that's featured in Surviving Death, and that's currently on Netflix right now, and that's wonderful. Have you seen it?
No, not yet.
Oh, it's so great.
Well, guys, by the comments, I see that some people are having a little bit of difficulty watching the broadcast, like it's freezing here and there. That happens. That's technology. Sometimes the broadband, the internet, it's a little slow. It happens. This video will be posted on our YouTube channel, Yonkers Voice. So if you're having a difficulty watching it here, just log into your account later, go to YouTube, look for Yonkers Voice. Don't forget to support us by subscribing to the channel, and there you're able to watch the entire show. Now, Catherine, is there anything else that I did not ask you, but you want to bring it up? Anything that you have heard probably that you say, well, let me take this opportunity to clear things up? Is there anything that you'd like to?
I just think it's important, like the book that Robert Ginsburg wrote about selecting a medium. I always say, you know, you have to do your research, and that's why my website is so detailed. It talks about my life and about me and about all the people that I've read for and the different things that I do. But most importantly, it's the testimonials, you know, and it's people that actually want to write a testimonial. And that's why it's selecting the right medium for you. So the right medium for you might be me, but the right medium for somebody else might be somebody else. So it's kind of going through the process of learning that experience. That's what's really important.
Well, on that note, we conclude our interview for today. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you will visit Catherine Nadal's website, buy a reading, schedule one, and hear what your friends, those that have passed on, have to say, or what they need to say. Until next time, and thank you for watching.